Hi everybody, how you doing today? It's been a while since we've had anything sweet in the house, and so one of the favorite things that my son likes is brownies. I do not. I have been trying really hard to do the carnivore diet and stick to it as closely as I can, so this is my happy medium. He can have his brownies and I will probably not indulge at all because it's just not my thing. So these are just really simple things. I already have my oven set for 350. We are going to melt a half a cup of butter, and then we'll add a few things to it. The nice thing about this recipe is that it is super fast and easy. Throw it in the oven and move on down the street. So that's exactly what I'm going to do with this one. So as soon as this butter melts a little bit, we're going to go ahead and add to that a whopping, if I can think straight here, I just varied from recipe to recipe here, 1 1/3 cups of sugar. It has been a day of not very productiveness and my eyes are not focusing well, so I apologize. We're going to get this going quickly though. I'm going to grab my eggs while I'm thinking of it though. Eggs would be good. Got my eggs and I'm not worried a bit about them because I just got them not long ago, so I'm not even going to test my farm fresh eggs today. Sometimes when it's been a while that I've had them or whatever, I'll test each and every one of them, but not today. I'm just not that concerned. While we are waiting for that butter to melt, I already have my 1 1/2 cups of flour in my sifter. And I know I don't have to do this, but I am going to do this just because I think it blends everything together just a little bit better. So I'm going to add my 1/2 teaspoon of salt into my flour. And also my teaspoon of baking powder. And although my butter is not 110% melted, as I think you can maybe see that, maybe, it's almost there and it's starting to pop. So I'm just going to go ahead and dump my sugar in anyhow. I'm going to mix that a little bit. And I've just melted this on medium heat. Doesn't have to be super high for this. And the recipe then calls for a 1/2 cup plus 2 tablespoons of chocolate. And I just use the Hershey's cocoa, unsweetened. And I'm not using an official measuring spoon, I'm just using my tablespoon. And wiggly wiggly. There is not even enough left in here to save, so it might be a little more than 2 tablespoons in there, but we're going to call it good anyhow. And we'll give that all a really good mix. If I'm making a cake or something that doesn't have as much, like the melted butter that's going to break up clumpy chocolate very well, then I will a lot of times sift my chocolate into my flour and make sure that I don't have any big lumps in there either. But for this one and like no-bake cookies, those usually don't take any extra TLC to get that chocolate to break up. So now I'm just going to sift the flour with the salt and baking powder in it. I'm going to turn my heat way down, and then we're going to do our eggs one at a time here. You could, if you wanted to, put them in a bowl and slightly beat them and then add them all at one time too. So whatever works for you is good, just as long as you quickly get them in here and beat them so they don't cook with lots of chunky parts of egg in here. You just want it to be blended really well. Because I can't imagine biting into a bite of anything and having a big chunk of egg unless it's like an omelet or a quiche or something like that. But for cookies and desserts, I can't imagine that being very appetizing. Your choice on this is either a 9 by 13 pan or an 8 by 8. I have chosen an 8 by 8 because I would rather them be a little thicker and more chewy than skinnier and maybe not so chewy. So that's the route I take. And now I'm just going to go ahead and turn that heat off because this is plenty well mixed. And the next thing we're going to do is add our flour. Make sure that egg is really, really in there, and it is. And so now I'm just going to pop my flour in, and we'll mix it all up. And of course, we're cooking in the kitchen with Lois, so we have to have a mess. It is a requirement when I'm cooking. The stove was clean before I started this. Now we have something to clean. The nice thing about this really is if you wanted to, it's pretty much a minimal dish thing too. I don't always sift my flour into a bowl first. Sometimes I just dump everything into the sifter and just sift directly into the pan. It's whatever you'd prefer to do. Just make sure I don't have any extra things on the spoon that shouldn't be there. All right, I have already sprayed my 8 by 8 pan. So now all we're gonna do is pop this in. Now this particular recipe that I've chosen today, and most, like I shouldn't say most, a lot of people like their brownies frosted. I think brownies are plenty sweet enough that they don't need to be frosted. So I am not going to do that. What I may do today, just for something new and different, actually I probably will because I got them out. I will go ahead and put in on the very top, just sprinkle a few mini chocolate chips on top. But I don't think there's a need for frosting on brownies personally. I think it just makes them way, way too sweet. So as you can see, this is kind of a little bit thicker of a batter. So I'm just going to spread it out a little bit because it didn't spread on its own. So I'm just going to help it along here. Get it flattened out pretty easy, and then we'll throw a few chocolate chips on. This is going to go into the oven now, sorry, at 350. Oh, let's see. They say for about 35 minutes, and probably because I'm doing a thicker batch, that is about how long I'll do it. I may check them actually. No, I will check them at 25 minutes to see. I'll check with my toothpick and just make sure that they are done enough. But the thing about all of these things cake-wise that I learned a long time ago is you can overbake them and then they're dry and then nobody wants to eat them. And I could move this closer, but I don't really want to put this pan on that hot burner right now. So I'm not. Okay, so a few chocolate chips is turned into just a little more, but they're baby ones, so. Okay, so now I have a chocolate chip hand, and I have brownies that are ready to go into the oven as I dump them out of the pan. So I'll be back in about 25-30 minutes and we'll see how they look. Okay, it has been 25 minutes, and I have actually already tested these, but I actually maybe should have done it at 20 minutes instead, because there is not anything left on my toothpick, which means from the heat of these beautiful brownies, they will still start cooking. So I hope that they are not going to end up to be dry. One thing when you're cooking things like this and cakes, watch the side of your pan. If they start pulling away from the side of your pan, they're definitely done as well. So we're gonna let these cool. We will let my child get home because these are for him. And we will cut them open later and see what they look like, see what you think. Bye. Okay, we're gonna cut into these brownies as I move my camera and it wiggles, and see what we think here. I do still think that even though I only did them for 20 minutes versus the 30 or 35 the recipe called for, I think that was too long. Okay, so looks pretty good. Actually gonna cut off just a little sliver here and leave this one for my son. Well, my little sliver has turned into crumblets, so we'll see how we do here. The dog is gonna want that one. It's way too long. Very rich, very chocolatey. That part is all good. The part I don't like is the fact that I overcooked them. They're still not as thick as I would have thought they would have been in a smaller pan than a 9 by 13. But I think if I would have done them for maybe even, I don't know. I think the next time I make this particular recipe, I think I'll try it at only 10 minutes or 12. And I'll check them and see if we still need to bake them longer or not. So the flavor is excellent. Very, very rich. Very, very in-depth. So just don't cook them so long and you'll be good to go. Have a great night.